Hello and welcome to another Tamiya Falcon 2000 project video, people. In this video I'm going to construct the 3D printed transmission. I printed this with my Bamboo Labs P2S printer. I used PLA Plus 2.0 Sunlu filament. Very nice filament, get a nice finish. I think if I tweak it a little bit, I can get this looking pretty good. I had a few adhesion issues. Tried adjusting the bed temperature, but nothing, it didn't work. Bed temperature didn't really do it. So I googled it, as you do. Came across an hairspray method. So I hairsprayed my plate, and it's all been good, all good since then. So as soon as I sorted that out, I could do some decent prints. But now I've got to a point where I think this is the prequel to the final transmission. I've learned quite a lot in this process, especially with holes people. I think I've learned that 3D printed parts don't like the screws to go in and out. They like to go in and stay in. Yeah, and also when you printed something and you put your screw in the hole, debris comes out. So if you're trying to put two panels together, debris gets squashed in between. So yeah, I've learned to put the screw in, clean the debris, then assemble the part. Yeah, you get a better finish like that. Get the screw hole sorted, clean the debris, assemble. But I kind of rushed this. I kind of learnt this on the fly. But it's a lesson. It's a lesson I've learnt. Yeah, 3D printing and screws. And I think I might try some inserts or some thread inserts. Yeah. 1.75s might be difficult to get in, so yeah, part of the learning curve. So I've used a Cougar 2 Works transmission to aid my design. I wouldn't say copied, I've utilized the Schumacher transmission. Very nice. But that's the casing. Ooh, look at that. Look how well it goes together, people. Beautiful. So these side casings are already half built. They shouldn't have the eccentrics or the bearing carrier on there, because what I've done, I've taken a pre-existing gearbox apart to use on my prototype. I wanted to see how it would work. That's why the gearbox looks like it's half built already, with the eccentrics already in and the bearing holder in. It's already been used. These are used parts, and this is why I got grease on my finger. Bearings. What's worse than bearing grease? Nothing, because it's black and it sticks to your finger. So anyway, so yeah, that is why the side casings have already got parts on them. It has saved me time, but I'm taking quite a lot of shortcuts because I want to get this done. I want to get this assembled, and this is what I mean about the holes. Holes should be screwed, cleaned, ready. I've learned that trying to screw something together without doing this process, 3D parts don't like it. I mean, my P2S does do a nice print. It's taken me quite a big learning curve to get some nice prints, but I've never done anything like this before, so every day's a school day, as they say. But because I don't know if I went for a modular design because of my 3D printing experience, or it is the best way. I mean, because I did try in my first prototypes to build gearboxes like in one print. Like, well, I think my very first one was one big fat print, and it didn't come out very well. So this is why I've gone for the modular type scenario. Yeah, but it works well. Plus the Schumacher transmission has one thing that must be done to it when you're putting it together, and that is belt tension. You must be able to adjust the belt tension when you've put the actual transmission together. This is what the porthole at the top of my transmission is for, so I can get to the actual belt and check the tension. But cosmetically, it looks good. It does look good. So remember, this is not the method of putting a transmission together. I am using my Schumacher knowledge to ram this together. Technically, I am just ramming this in there. I could have been a little bit more delicate, and I could have done it a little bit better, but I just wanted to get it done, and this is the best way I could think of doing it. And it would be a lot easier with the Schumacher Pro lay shaft for the clutch. This is the vintage lay shaft with the vintage replica clutch. With the Pro lay shaft and the Pro clutch, it would be a lot easier to put together. And then again, I'm putting the screws in pre-assembly. I should have done all this prior to actually getting this far. I should have, see, look, I've learned something here. I should have done all this before I got this far, you see. Too much rushing and not enough thinking. So anyway, let's have a recap. I've printed these with my Bamboo Labs printer, my P2S. Very nice. I used FreeCad to design this gearbox. Very good, very easy to use. FreeCad, the learning curve for FreeCad is quite small. It's I took it up quite easily. Like I say, 3 months ago, I didn't know how to use FreeCad, didn't know how to use a 3D printer. I just had crazy ideas swirling around in my brain, which I wanted to build. I've always wanted to modify the Tamiya Falcon, but the Tamiya Falcon's got many flaws. The front end is very brittle. The ABS plastic they used, it was very brittle in the 80s and 90s. So we're talking 40 years of Tamiya Falcon, and the plastic doesn't age it didn't age very well in the 80s. Never mind 40 years later. So I always wanted to upgrade my Falcon, but there was nothing there. I mean, you could get the Thorpe dog bone system. Thorpe made a lot of stuff for the Tamiyas back in the Stone Age. Very nice stuff, Mr. Thorpe. Yeah, but I was offered a set of dog bones for my Falcon, and I thought, why spend like £100 on some Thorpe dog bones when the rest of the car needs to be modified? So I turned those down, them vintage Thorpe dog bones, and I thought I would spend a lot of money on a printer redesigning my Falcon. Yeah. So remember, people, this isn't how you construct a Schumacher gearbox, I have taken many shortcuts, but it works for me, I know what I'm doing, in a fashion, I know what I'm doing in a fashion. But yeah, the gear, this transmission is going together very nice, and I've ended up with like a black and silver look, which is awesome. And these drive shafts are the drive shafts from the Cougar 2 works also. This is like a straight pull. If you had a Cougar 2 works next to a Falcon, I've technically dragged the transmission across to the Falcon and just needed something to mount the transmission to the Falcon chassis, and that's what it's all about, people. That is a very tasty looking transmission. I mean, at this point the belt tension is an issue. I shouldn't have the eccentrics in before the clutch plate. See, this is where my porthole comes in. Very important, because this is where you get your belt tension. See, that's me pushing on the belt doing that. So if I didn't have this porthole, I would have to guess what the belt tension is, and that is not good. And I think this is number 1 or 2 prototype for my motor cover. Yeah, I've developed this motor cover a lot since this one. It has changed, changed an awful lot, but I mean, in my original design I didn't even have a motor cover. I realised it when I tested the prototype, and I thought, hang on a minute, I ain't got a motor cover. It's like a penny drop moment. See, this is what I mean about the clutch and the belt tension. I did it the wrong way around, but it was a shortcut. But it worked. You always do belt tension last, you see. It's not the first thing you do. But because I'd already had it set in the previous gearbox, I thought I'd give it a whirl, see what happens. And luckily, it worked. I think on my final build, when I get some nice carbon fibre sides, I'll build it properly. Build this model how it should be built. And there's my little porthole working for the belt tension. Look at that, beautiful. Just enough room to get my little bony finger in there. And even without touching anything at this point, that is bob on. Like 1 to 2 millimeters. Here you go. Very basic, fundamental. The belt should be able to move 1 to 2 millimeters. That is not a lot, people. That is not a lot. But it works. It works for me. Works for this gearbox. In general, it is very good fundamental to stick to. And look, my little porthole clicks right into place. Beautiful. Very cosmetically pleasing gearbox. And that's it then, people, really. That's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and later.